Hey, welcome back everybody, this is LCDR Keys, and today we're going to be taking a look at Malwarebytes software for virus detection and removal. All of these tools we'll be taking a look at today are free, and I'm going to be going into just briefly how to use these tools so that you can use them for troubleshooting and cleaning up PCs. While all these tools are free, I do highly recommend that if you're looking to get an antivirus, you take a look at Malwarebytes. Hey everybody, it's LCDR Keys, and like I said, today in this video we're going to be talking a little more in depth about some Malwarebytes software, software that's made by, well, the company Malwarebytes. Let me adjust my camera here just a wee bit. I'm sorry, that's extremely unprofessional. But we're going to be taking a look at some of Malwarebytes' free software. Really, we're going to be taking a look at all of their free software tools. So what we've got, let me just open up the folder here. My last video was about the security folder that I had in my tech toolkit that I carry around every day. And I said that later on we would get to the Malwarebytes software folder, and I never got back into that, and I apologize for that. I just kind of cut it short because we were already approaching like going on 15 minutes, and I don't want this to be my Windows 8 rant because that was just too long to watch, I'm going to be honest. Some people might like it, most people probably not though. So we're going to be going over these Malwarebytes tools. I'm just going to go down the list. All these are free, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some different ways to use especially their anti-malware tool. If you are in the market, though, for an antivirus, and you're wanting to run an antivirus, I do recommend that you check out Malwarebytes AntiMalware. While McAfee and Norton are running for like $80 a year for 3 PCs, Malwarebytes runs for $24.95 a year, which is pretty darn good. These guys aren't sponsoring me or telling me to show you this stuff. I just think what they're doing is fantastic. I really appreciate these guys. So I'm just going to do a little a review of some of their software, show you how to use it, and maybe you'll check it out as well. Let me go ahead and do what I always forget to do at the beginning of this episode, and that is switch over to headphones for my sound. The first one we're going to take a look at is InBar setup, and then it gives a version number. This is the Malwarebytes anti-malware tool. The installation process is pretty darn simple. You get asked to run it as an administrator. You get your English option. This tool is going to be for scanning and removing malware and adware and viruses and all sorts of brilliant things that you don't want on your computer. You go ahead, click next, accept the license agreement, go ahead, click next. You also choose where to install it. After that, it installs. I'm going to go ahead and exit the setup because I've already got this running on my PC. This is the interface that you will get when you open Malwarebytes Anti-Malware. It's a very simple setup. You've got your dashboard, which just shows you your license status, how many days left you have in your subscription, or if you're using the free version, it will say free. The database version, making sure that you're currently up to date, whether you have a scan and process, and then whether real-time protection is turned on or not. That is something that is in the paid-for feature. You have your scan section and your settings section. Settings and history you're really not going to mess too much with unless you are, well, history you can go back through and you can see what you've removed in the past with the free version actually. And these are things that I've removed from VMs that I've done testing on. As you can all see, they're pups. And got one Trojan in there. Settings, really all of this stuff is going to be the advanced settings that you get in the premium version, which I won't go too into because this is going to be about what I keep in my toolkit. So I typically go to scan if I'm just diagnosing a PC and I want to see, or I want to confirm for a client that there is obviously something wrong. I usually just do a threat scan, which is a quick scan. It it basically looks for the common places, looks at the common places that viruses are kept. That's it. Custom scan will let you go ahead and select which drives you want to scan, and it'll scan the entire drive. So if we go into threat scan, it's going to tell us that we need to update. We'll click update. It updates super fast because I've got great internet. And then it's going to do several of these different, going to go through several of these different items on this list here. Pre-scan operations, I imagine it does some things that are very similar to rkill. I'm not sure. I've never really ripped this program apart and just run the code or looked through it. It's going to look at your memory objects in your startup folder, registry objects. It's going to take a glance at the registry, file system objects, and then heuristic analysis. It's going to take a look at basically changes to settings that have been made that might possibly point to malware, and that is the simplest way to really describe heuristic analysis. We're going to go ahead and we're going to cancel that scan, and I'm going to go back to the scan section here in the main menu. The custom scan is what I use when I need to do a full scan on the PC. You click scan now. I'll also tell it to scan for rootkits. You tell it to you can tell it to treat pups as warnings, ignore them, or treat them as malware. I say treat them as malware. If it pops up as a pup, you don't want it 90% of the time. If it's something you want, you'd add an exception. But anyways, you go ahead and check the drives, and what's really nice about this is if I'm not sure about a folder, I can find that exact folder that I want, and I can scan that individual folder. But anyways, it'll scan that entire drive or that entire folder, look at everything. When it finds something, it basically categorizes things into pups, which are potentially unwanted programs, and malicious threats, which are Trojans, worms, backdoors. You've got your agent.tz in there. You've got your configure virus, and actual destructive stuff shows up there. And then it's just a simple quarantine all click, or you select which ones you would like to keep, which ones you would like to either ignore once, which ones you would like to add to a whitelist, or which ones you'd like to remove, and then click quarantine. And then obviously you would probably want to restart your computer to make sure this process is completed, and then run this scan again, or a different malware scanner to double check your work. I am always at least running, when I am double checking a PC to make sure that the work is done, I usually use Malwarebytes to do a lot of the cleaning, and then I take a look at the some other scanners to just confirm that everything is gone. This is the free version of Malwarebytes. The paid-for version does a whole lot more, and it'll actually be active protection all over the computer for you to use, which is nice. But that is InBar, or Malwarebytes AntiMalware. That is their main program. Now here is the other big one, which is Malwarebytes Anti-Exploit. Anti-Exploit, it's got the same setup process, but basically what this is going to do, we'll go through here. Let's see. This is going to actively look for basically like JavaScripts that may be running or may soon run. It is going to look at browser settings, I believe, and things like that. It's going to look for possible exploits. It is a lot like EMET, the Advanced Mitigation Experience Toolkit from Microsoft, which is also free. I found that they can both run side by side, and unlike antivirus software or anti-malware software, they do not collide with each other. They simply just will alert you at the same time if there is an exploit. But I'll show you what that looks like. It is very simple. The free version is mainly going to cover browsers with like Java stuff, and then I believe PDF readers, or that might be, no, PDF readers might be just the paid-for version. But it gives you some basic exploit detection. I'll show you down here what that looks like. Whoops. Let's click on the right thing. It's very simple. Is it running? Yes or no? Stop or start protection. Close. You can buy it. You can activate it with a key. You can buy it, and then it's got what it is protecting. So here we can see that. Okay, here we go. This is clearer. This is more clear. This is a better answer than I can give you off the top of my head. Right now, it's basically monitoring all of my browsers and then Java. If you want something to monitor exploits in Adobe Acrobat, the Foxit readers, your Microsoft Office programs, that is a big one. VLC Player and QuickTime, need to get the paid-for version. Those are all programs that are actually pretty darn easy to exploit, especially if you're, especially in the Office suite. Getting a file to actually just run code using the Office suite is incredibly easy to do. I might actually cover a class on doing that because it's kind of fun. But anyways, then you've got your logs. It just basically every time I fire up Firefox, it's gonna log that it's now protected. As you can see, it's all Mozilla Firefox. It's all I use to browse because I choose an open internet. Anyways, exclusions if you add any, obviously, and then about, which is literally just the same as the general page, with links here instead of your shielded applications numbered, and blocked exploit attempts. So I can open up Firefox right here, and you can see that that just shot up to 1 down here. So we'll close that. We'll close that. So that is anti-exploit. Next up on the list, what do we got? Here are, I'll go over the one other active, how shall I say this, active program, or active on-computer scanning program before I go into specifically removal tools. This is InBar, which is the Malwarebytes anti-rootkit. This is currently, I believe, still in beta. When you install this, it does not install. It's a lot like a GOG game. It basically unpacks the appropriate folders into the appropriate place and then gives you a shortcut to run the exe that it unpacks. Or at least that's how I understand it to the best of my ability. If I open it here, because basically what you'll see on your desktop is that folder called InBar right there will show up after you run it, the installation, and then you will be running the InBar exe. This, when you run it, is very simple. It's just next, update. It'll go boom. We have updated, success, hit next, and then it is going to, you can scan drivers, different sectors, and you can scan system files. And this is going to look for evidence of rootkits. Not only will it detect it, but it does a pretty darn good job of cleaning it up when it does find something, and I find that really, really nice, because there's not a lot of programs out there that I found that'll actually get anywhere near 90% of what's there. This actually does a little more than that, at least in the few tests that I've run. So then we get into the tools that are left. There's 3 of them that are left. There is File Assassin, which is a lot like the program File Unlocker. I'm going to go ahead and install this because I have not yet. And then we're going to run it. It looks very simple. It is like this. Basically, you can drag a file into that little box there, this right here, or you can click this to browse for a file. And once you do so, you can attempt File Assassin's method of file processing. What that means is you can terminate any processes that file is running. Any, like if you were to look at it in Process Explorer, you can terminate anything under that process or that file that you're looking at. By file, I do not mean folder, I mean like file. This will also take out folders. But anything that file is running, it'll terminate the processes, unload modules, and it'll also unlock locked file handles, which basically, if you've ever had problems deleting a file, like Windows will not let you delete a file, like if you've reinstalled Windows and you have Windows.old and it's taking up a bunch of space, you've probably gone through the process of unlocking that and then getting rid of it, or you've done one of the other methods that's a little more lengthy and time consuming. I just like to click delete and say, you know, burp, F you, Microsoft, get out of here. Use delete on Windows reboot functions, and then use normal delete function. Use normal delete function is, I believe, just going to throw it to the recycling bin, if I remember correctly. But anyways, you can then donate to Malwarebytes, or read a little bit about it. And that is pretty much it. It's just a nice little file assassin. It does what it's supposed to. Next up, we have the Registry Assassin. It is very similar. This one, I don't remember installing this, so this, I believe, just runs as an exe and just, boom, pops up right there. Essentially, you just enter the registry key to be deleted. If you click help, it'll tell you how to open regedit, and then it will tell you that you need to navigate to that key. You need to copy the key name, paste it into the box, basically. You can reset that registry key's permissions or delete that key and all of its subkeys. Please, please, please be absolutely very, very careful when using something like this on the registry. It's one thing to be deleting files, as long as you're not deleting, you know, like things inside System32 or whatever. But it's another thing to literally delete registry entries. The registry is everything that makes Windows Windows. It is your settings. It is your everything. It is literally the heart and soul of Windows and the bones. So be very, very careful when messing with that. And then last but not least, you've got Startup Light Setup. This is very, very simple. It just looks for unnecessary startup entries, and it can just speed up the computer. CCleaner also has a really good startup section. This is a little simpler. It'll just look for it. If it finds things that it knows are unnecessary, you just hit continue. It'll remove those startup processes. CCleaner actually makes you think and go through and check boxes. But yeah, that is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 Malwarebytes pieces of software that I use. Again, all of those are free. All of those can be downloaded from Malwarebytes' website. And I do highly recommend that you choose those guys, Malwarebytes, over McAfee, Norton, Kaspersky, AVG, Avast, any of those guys, because they are literally almost exactly a quarter of the amount of money compared to the big name titles off the shelf. And they've been rated number 1 by PC Magazine in literally all of the serious antivirus rankings. Malwarebytes is near the top, if not at the top. They are number 1 in detection, and for the most part, I've never had a problem removing something with Malwarebytes unless it was a very, very serious virus, one that I might as well just format for having. So, anyways, I hope this was educational, and you now know about some of the really cool tools for cleaning up a PC that you might want to use. As always, my name is LCDR Keys, and I will see you next time, where we will finally get to this section over here, utilities, and I'll go through some of the nice things to have in a tech toolkit as far as just general purpose utilities go. I guess that's that. As always, everybody, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed our little talk today, give me a like, give me a sub, leave an angry comment. I read them all and cry before I go to bed. We'll see you guys later.